Welcome back to the Dragon's Lair, everybody. My name is Wade, and this is Metro Let's Talk, where we talk about Warhammer 40k, specifically Tyranids. The new detachment we're talking about. I already made a video talking about new rules for the Psychophage. Go ahead and check that out. But this is talking about the new detachment, Subterranean Assault. So the very first thing I have to say about Subterranean Assault is how cool with Surprise Assault. Each time a Tyranid model from your army makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Army wide, reroll 1. That's pretty good, just to start off with. that's that's arguably good enough to build an army around, anyways. All right, let's go on. And this is what's had the internet buzzing. Each time a burrower from your army is set up on the battlefield from reserves, place a circular 40 millimeter tunnel marker anywhere on the battlefield. 40 millimeter is like 1.567 inches. um, Within 1 inches of that unit and more than 3 inches horizontally away from enemy units. Okay, so a burrower, which right now is going to be Trigons, Molochs, and Raveners. I'm going to do a video about the Raveners, but I just want to make sure we're all thinking the same thing here. So it pops up, you place a 40 millimeter marker within 1 inch, and then it has to be 3 inches away horizontally from an enemy. In the reinforcements step of your movement phase, when you set up a unit on the battlefield from reserves, you can set that unit up wholly within 9 of your tunnel marker and more than 6 horizontally away from enemy units. Okay, so here's where it's important. It does not have to say that it has deep strike. You are just taking models that you have put in reserve, and remember, reserve and strategic reserve are different things. Okay, but models that you have put in reserve, you can then set them up. And you can, because it's got to be within 9, wholly within 9 of your tunnel marker. That means you can set up models that will end up being 6 inches away from the enemy. And those models that you set up will be able to shoot and they will be able to charge. And all you have to do is make a 6-inch charge, which, let me tell you what, friends, especially with the command reroll, you're going to do it. If an enemy model, excluding aircraft, ends any kind of move within 3 inches of one of your tunnel markers, that tunnel marker is removed from the battlefield. So if your enemy gets too close, they seal it up. Crazy cool. Not necessarily always easy, but crazy cool. Molochs and Trigons from your army have the burrower keyword. Raveners have it now, and then Super Raveners have it. In the muster step, you can select up to 2 Trigon models from your army. Select those units. The selected units gain the character keyword, which means you will be able to give them enhancements or even make one of them your warlord, which is not terrible, but I don't always think in our best interest. So looking over at the enhancements, I'm going to start at the bottom with Trigon Prime. So you can take one Trigon. It gets the synapse keyword, which means it will provide synapse. Improve the strength characteristics and weapon skill characteristics of melee weapons equipped by that bear by 1. So that means that the Trigon's 12 melee attacks will all be hitting on 2+, and they will be strength 11 attacks. I know strength 11 is kind of irrelevant because 10 is the breaking point and 12 is the next breaking point. But what I'm trying to say to you is now you're double tough in 5s, and that's a big deal. The only thing I'm going to caution you about is the Trigon does not possess a Feel No Pain, and it does not possess an Invulnerable. So, like, if you're playing at the RT level or the Grand Tournament level, everyone's got a Melta-Gun, everyone's got a Combi Melta, everyone's got a Multi-Melta, everyone's got a Melta-Cannon, every unit has a Melta. So, just keep that in mind. So if you're super excited about a Trigon Prime being your warlord and then he's going to pop up and create all these tunnels, just be ready for people to charge you with meltas. I'm just being real. um, a lot of people are talking about Vanguard Intellect. Models with deep strike ability only. The bearer unit can be set up using deep strike ability in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. So it's cool for two reasons. One, it defies mission rules. Two, normally you can't set up anything from deep strike in your first movement phase. So you could Vanguard Intellect on a Trigon, for example, pop it up. So it's done with having popped up. Like it won't be able, because it's set up from Deep Strike, it won't be able to charge and it's already counted as moved. It'll be able to shoot. But the point is, whatever comes out of the hole. So, like, right now, people are talking about Horospexes, and people are talking about Old One Eye with two Carnifexes coming up out of the hole. Or a Biotitan, you know, whatever, Hierophant. Point is, you could birthday cake a Hierophant on turn one if you really wanted to with Vanguard Intellect, which is very cool and very scary. So keep that in mind. Tremor Senses. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 friendly Tyranid units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strategic reserve regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve. Okay, so you start the game, you decide what's going to be in strategic reserve. Then you have something with Tremor Sense, like your Warlord, like, I don't know, a Hive Tyrant chilling in the back with a Venom Cannon or something. Anyways, point is, you then deploy in a way that makes your opponent deploy these other assets to counter them, and then you stretch them to the far sides of the map. And then you just pick those things up. And now they're in strategic reserve, which means they're going to be able to come out of the tunnels. Or if those things already have deep strike, they'll be able to deep strike on their own. It's a really cool freak out thing. Psychological warfare. Last is Synaptic Strategy. Tyranids model only. Once per battle, you can target the bear's unit with a rapid ingress stratagem for 0 CP. You can do so even if you have already targeted a different unit with the stratagem. I like that because you would be able to rapid ingress 2 units together, and that's pretty cool. Looking at these stratagems, they're all pretty cool. I think I really like Replenish Swarms. So movement phase, Tyranid unit, if it's within 9 inches of the tunnel marker, you can heal at D3+1. I'm a big fan of healing. Or you can replace D3+1 destroy models. That's pretty cool. Swarm Assault is cool, but maybe unnecessary. So your charge phase, Tyranid monster so you target the Tyranid monster like the Trigon that came up. And then 1 Tyranid monster unit from your army that was set up as a reinforcement this turn. Oh, I'm sorry. So you target the Haruspex or the Norn, for example. And then it gets a reroll its charge. So now you have to make a 6-inch charge roll, and you get to reroll. Pretty cool for 1 CP. I'm really liking Retreat Below because if you took 2 Molochs, end of your opponent's fight phase, 1 Tyranid unit or up to 2 Burrower units from your army that are not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy models, remove the units from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserve. So you could keep on uppy downy is what it's called. You could uppy downy 2 Molochs and just keep on pumping out the everything within 12 inches takes at least a D3 mortal wounds or perhaps even 3 mortal wounds. I could see a world where that could get pretty costly for your enemy. Because every time you pop up and down, end of your opponent's fight phase, yeah, you might get tied up in melee with something fast, but I could see a world where that would be fun. I think overall that this is a really cool detachment, and I think it's even cooler that we're getting new stuff as time goes on. So I would really encourage you guys to look into that and talk it over with the community for your best strategies. Like I said, right now the hot topic is Old One Eye and a Haruspex and a Biotitan, coming out of the hole. Anyways, thank you for listening. And we here at the Dragon's Lair want to say thank you for spending your time with us at the Dragon's Lair.